You're listening to Let's Chop It Up with yeah, no doubt. Let's go.
Now let's begin the story.
Why don't we do it?
It may be a countdown.
3, 2, 1. Liftoff.
Let's chop it up with
All right, this is Let's Chop It Up with Ziz, and today we got a special guest, man, all the way from the UK, man. Wow. We got Hobgoblin. What's up, brother?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Not too bad. What about yourself?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. They treating us all right over here in the States. How is it over there in UK, man?
Yeah, it is what it is, mate. You know what I mean? Like regarding, depends what you're talking about. I mean, regarding the obvious, the whole COVID lockdown situation, you know, without wanting to go too political too quickly. You know, it's not as bad as it is in Australia over here. When there's no mandates as such yet.
Yeah, they're putting.
So we're cool, man.
Yeah, they're putting mandates here now, and you also have to. Yeah, you got to use your mask when you go inside of the restaurants and everything. So, you know, they're definitely making it that way.
Yeah, we've got that. Do you know what I mean? Any communal areas, you've got to have your mask on, that kind of shit. But
yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, it's been rough, man. But listen, through all the rough stuff, man, you've been providing some amazing music from
I
your
appreciate
end.
that.
Okay?
I appreciate that, man. Thanks for saying
like
that. Thank you.
Right now, Prose X and Hobgoblin, the New South album is out now, right?
Yep.
How did that come about? Because that's a hell of an album, bro.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, it literally came about just from Prose. I think he just hit me and said, you know, if you want to do something, let's do it. And I was aware of Prose. I'd heard his project he'd done with Timepiece. He'd done some stuff with Uncle Tim as well. And Uncle Tim and Timepiece and a few other producers were all we've got a group chat thing on IG going. So, you know, I'm aware of what these guys are doing. Farmer Beats is in it, Future Waves in it. You know, we kind of support each other and talk producer stuff, and it's really good because it allows, I think, some of us to maybe come across artists that we wouldn't normally come across otherwise.
Yeah.
And so Prose was definitely one of those guys that I came across via kind of Timepiece and Uncle Tim, pretty much. And so I started sending him some stuff. He got shit back pretty quickly. And I liked what he was. I mean, I sent him some different kind of stuff. Like I didn't really send him the kind of stuff I'd maybe send like Jamil Honesty, or the stuff that I'd probably send Mav. It was kind of a little more left of center. I almost think of it like, you know, like you hear Alchemist and Griselda is like a certain sound, and Alchemist and you know, Freddie Gibbs it's kind of got a certain sound to it, and then every so often he'll go off and do something with a different artist who's maybe not as well known or is a bit left of center. And I think he does that, and the reason why I did it, and I feel like this is what the project me and Prose have has come out like, is that it's allowed me to kind of do something a bit different, and experiment and explore and play with other sounds and other ways of making beats and loops and different things that I wouldn't normally kind of send to other people. I kind of sent to Prose, and he fucking just murked and murdered and, you know, waved all over the stuff I was sending him. So, you know, it just worked out really well. The stuff he sent back was just blew me away, to be honest with you. I was really like, not that I didn't know he was dope already, but like, I think, and I've had other producers who have worked with him who've heard the stuff said that it really took him to another level. Like he kind of did something different that he hasn't done.
Producers do that. And, you know, anybody could work with anybody at the end of the day. But that chemistry is what matters. Yeah. And the way, you know, the vibe that you create between two people. I always say, man, you got to have a relationship with your producer, you know, because it won't come out as good if it's one of those things like, yo, send me tracks. Okay, see you. There's no
Yeah.
conversation. You got to build. It comes out better that way because both parties are on the same level, right? So they're ready to go. They're ready to work. When I work with a producer, I like to talk. Like, we don't even have to talk about music. We just talk about everyday stuff and build that trust with each other, that when I send something to him or her, he or she will be like, wow, I could relate to that. As a matter of fact, we was talking about that the other day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and that's the kind of vibe that I think artists, whether any kind of artist, would be dealing with somebody that's making producing beats and stuff like yourself. Yeah, definitely. And you really showed your versatility on this one here. You used a lot of different instruments. I heard a lot of different things. And you're in the right place too, man. You're in the right place. UK got it all, man. I'm a huge progressive rock fan. So that there, it's like you remind me, you're like the Steven Wilson of hip hop. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, it was nice. It was nice to, to chuck a few 808s in there, and especially as kind of Prose, he's from Texas, so he's got a different side to him. That if you'd heard his stuff before, you might assume he was an East Coast cat, because he sounds very kind of grimy and has got that very East Coast sound to it. But he definitely kind of embraced some of that kind of Southern stuff, and the way the kind of the stuff he was saying and the way he was saying it and the delivery, kind of that kind of melded really well with the beats he was picking as well. So it has got this kind of, while it's gully and gritty, at the same time it does have this kind of Southern like lick to it that kind of comes across really nice in it as well. That I was really like pleased to hear that I got that out of him, if you know what I mean. And he, the other way with him, like I said, like it really allowed me to kind of experiment and just do something different. And I think that's something that a lot of producers sometimes can be a little bit afraid to do, to kind of come out of their comfort zone and maybe do something a bit different. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you don't want to hear you don't want to hear the same sound. We want to hear something different. Every effort should be put forth in a certain way. It shouldn't sound the same, because everybody's going to be like, oh, it's the same thing, whatever. But the way you're doing it is definitely very it felt like you guys were challenging each other.
Yeah, kind of. We were, and it was almost being done without being said as well. It was this kind of unsaid thing. I never told him, right, I'm going to send you this, and I want to see what you can do. I'm going to challenge you with. It didn't come. If that wasn't what it was like, it just kind of happened naturally. And I mean, we were lucky in a sense, because Timepiece Tracks, who's done a whole album with him before, did the mix and master on it, and he's a real kind of producer's producer. So I was sending the tracks to Prose. Prose was sending tracks back to me to listen to as a reference, but they were also going to Timepiece for him to mix. And then Time was kind of producing Prose at the same time, and getting him to try different things. And sometimes it worked, and it was done. I was like, yeah, that's fucking amazing. Like, thank you for getting him to do it that way, or thank you for it. Like, even on a couple of the tracks, Timepiece was adding stuff to the song as well. Like, he put a little introduction on Splints, like that intro.
Oh, I love that song.
Yeah, that's one of the best.
That's my favorite song.
Yeah. Prose, he performed that live at a Rome Streets.
I got it right here.
Yeah. He performed that at a Rome Streets gig. He said the crowd really loved that one, which is nice to hear as well when this stuff's going down live. And you know what, these live hip hop events can be a bit standoffish. So to hear that, you got a good response off it, that was pretty dope.
Good.
Yeah, man. So yeah, no, it's been an absolute pleasure working with him, to be honest with you, and I've really enjoyed it.
I've seen you, man. I'm seeing you grow and trying new things and being comfortable. You really put a mark on this year, man. You really did a hell of a job. I gotta say.
Thanks, man. Thanks. I mean, you know, that is something that Jamil Honesty has said to me in the past as well. And again, it's not something I necessarily do with hugely on purpose. It kind of just happens. But you know, Jamil's always said that he thinks I'm versatile. You know, I can do straight up boom bap. I can do drumless. I can do soulful. I can do gritty. I can do, you know, I can now, I would say I can play with that Southern sound to an extent. You know, I'm not that I'd say I'd mastered it by any stretch of the imagination, but you know, as long as I feel like I'm challenging myself, and as long as I feel like I'm trying to do new things, and it's exciting for me to try and push the envelopes of what I'm doing, then I'm going to keep doing it. Do you know what I mean? That's the drug, if you like.
That's right. That's right. It's only right. I mean, you give us that boom bap, that smooth funk, that jazz all in one. I love the way you do that. And you showed it, you know, in artists like Substance 810, Spoda, Mav, Lord Juco, just to name a few. What other artists did you work with this year too, besides the ones I mentioned?
Me and Synth locked in from the cloth, and did one. That was fun. It's nice to get a track with them. What I like doing as well is when I'll do a project or I'll do a song for somebody, and then they get someone else on the track that I didn't even know they were going to get. So I've ended up doing a track with Big Twins. I mean, that's fucking amazing. Do you know what I mean? Like that's a legend right there. And I didn't even know till Simp sent me the tune that was going to happen. So that was pretty cool. I had a couple of tracks. Yeah, man. I had a couple of tracks on Vinny Paz's album. That was fucking big for me. You know, that is a massive high point, especially as he got, you know, Lord Goat was on one of those tracks. Crime Apple was another one.
Oh, those guys are amazing, man. Shout out to all those guys, man.
Yeah, you had Lord Goat on. I've listened to the.
That's my guy, man. That's my guy, man. He's genuine, man.
Yeah, man. No, me and him are working on some stuff. So
that's amazing.
And that's the great thing as well about, you know, when these guys who I work with kind of end up getting these other people on their tracks, it gives me a valid reason to contact these guys rather than just hitting them up out of the blue, saying, "Oh, let me give you some beats" or whatever, and you know, and you get lost in the mail.
Yeah.
They've seen my name before because they've seen the production credits, hopefully, or they know who made the beat, or they've asked to at least who made the beat when they recorded it.
If you know hip hop, you know Hobgoblin. I mean, that's just the bottom line. You know what I mean? If you're in it like that, you're in it to win it, and you're paying attention to what's going on, you know who Hobgoblin is, man. You did a hell of a job with that Spoda album too. Thank
you, man. I appreciate that. Me and him are going to get back at it. I think 2022. That needs to happen.
That was definitely amazing. So, who would you like to work with next? Like which artist would put you to where you want to get to, that you can name, that will get you to that level where you feel, you say, you know what, Hobgoblin is really making noise right now? What would be those artists? And it doesn't necessarily have to be a hip hop guy. It could be anything, you know.
I mean, I'd really like to do something with Nems. And I think he's popping at the minute, and he's kind of on the up regarding, you know, his whole brand and everything. But you know, it's hard. Like I say, I like the challenge. I like can I get that kind of every year, if I feel like I'm making progress, and if I feel like I'm working with new people, and it doesn't even necessarily, you know, they don't have to be bigger necessarily. They don't have to have, you know, a bigger audience necessarily. So it's a hard one to answer. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to do something with Nems, just because I think Nems is dope, not because of that. I think that he would then I would suddenly be at some new level that I wasn't already at. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that progression's gonna keep happening as long as I do the right things. You know, as long as I keep working at what I'm doing, as long as I most importantly, as long as I keep enjoy what I'm doing, because I think, you know, it's easy.
That's the main thing.
Yeah, man. And it's easy to stop enjoying something, particularly when it becomes a vocation, but you know, or when it becomes your job. And at the minute, it's not my job. Do you know what I mean? I've got a day job. And producing is a hobby that I take very, very seriously. Don't get me wrong. And there is that worry that sometimes if you take it too seriously, the fun can come out. And I've been there and done it. Do you know what I mean? I used to be a club DJ way before I started producing.
Okay.
I've been a radio DJ. I've DJed all across Birmingham and the UK, to be honest, and that kind of ran its course and petered out, and I lost the love for it.
Oh, okay.
And I wouldn't want, do you know what I mean? So I've got in the back of my mind, there's always that. I hope it does. You know, I hope it doesn't end up happening with making music. Although, you know, I think there's so much more.
I think it's different though.
Yeah, I think it's
a lot, because you're creating everything from scratch.
Yeah.
So it's actually fascinating, and it gets you more into it. And when you have that feeling, it's like you can't wait to see what you're going to create next. So you're always going to have that kind of from within, you know, that heat that you always want to put out. I want to see how this going to sound like tomorrow. I'm going to try this. The next day I'm going to do this. So I'm going to add this to that track. You know,
and at the minute, you know, with the level that I'm at regarding this whole underground scene that we're all a part of, I can do what the fuck I want. Do you know what I mean? Like there's no one telling me, oh, you can't sample that, or you can't do drums like that, or you can't have him saying that. We do what the fuck we want. Do you know what I mean?
I love it, man.
And that's the beauty with the DJ. And one thing and I think the main reason really why I fell out of love with it was because you know, promoters were starting to say, oh, it was a bit of gang trouble around Birmingham where I live and where I was predominantly playing. Oh, you can't play this. Oh, you need to not play the harder stuff. Because I used to play bashment, I used to play hip hop, I used to play, you know, I was an R&B kind of club DJ predominantly. But there was still there, even in that situation, like, oh, you can't play this, you can't play this, you can't play. I just got sick and tired of being told what I couldn't play.
Okay.
But so you're right, it is different with at the minute regarding the whole, you know, no one's telling me what to do.
No, this is beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, which is
I wouldn't trade this. I wouldn't trade this for the world.
No.
I wouldn't trade this for the world. I love it just the way it is, like that. You know, every now and then I might peek out just to let the world know I'm still alive. But at the end of the day, we actually do what we want to do, and that's the beauty of being in the underground. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And that's what people. You know, Griselda popped, and depending on what side of the fence you're on and which Twitter posts you look at, I don't know if Griselda sold out or Griselda's pop now, But they're not. You know, they do what the fuck they want to do, pretty much. I think. I mean, they've got to be applauded for that, to get to that level and still be able to do it. Yes.
You know, some cases, like I go, yes, you know, we're very proud that you know, they're at that stature. But you know, the real hip hop fans, they always represent it. You know, shout outs to Black Moon. You know, cats like that really held down the underground when nobody really wanted to cross by. You know, Sky Zoo, places like, you know, people like that. So I'm so happy that, you know, Griselda took it to another level where you could actually be getting praised, and I'm talking about financially, you know, praised to a point that you could live like you're selling millions of records. You know what I mean? And that's awesome, man, for them to do that. But with your sound, right, the way you do things and the way you compose and put your beats together, your production together, I could see you do scores, movies, soundtracks. Have you done anything like that, or are you looking to do anything like that in the near future, or what's the deal with that?
I haven't. You're not the first person to say that. Funny enough, my daytime job is a media studies teacher at a secondary school. So,
Nice.
so I teach. I know quite a lot about films and directing and camera shots and the whole thing. Although I'm not really my background isn't really in film, it's more in radio. But I mean, if the opportunity presented itself, I would definitely be interested and excited to do something like that. It hasn't as yet. I'm not too, but I haven't really. If I'm being honest, I'm busy enough just doing what I'm doing.
Doing what you're doing now.
Just having the time to kind of explore that as an avenue. Might be if I get a bit if I've had the opportunity to have the time to do that, maybe somewhere down the line, if I chose to take a break, maybe from just like a creative break, maybe from just kind of banging out beats, then maybe it might be something that that could work quite well. But I don't really play with the kind of film scores and stuff like that. I think it's less about sampling and more about coming up with original melodies and chord progressions and all that kind of stuff. And I don't really play at the minute. Like, I'm learning very slowly. Before COVID kicked off, I was seriously considering enrolling on a keyboard course or a piano course and like learning properly how to play. Because that's, I mean, if you want to make your money as a producer, that's where the money is, when you can play with the sample packs and
from scratch.
Yeah, and that's people like Beat Butcher. He's a UK guy, and look what he's doing.
He's a monster.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So maybe one day, but I think I need to get a bit better at playing first and learn how to actually.
You'd be surprised, man. You'd be surprised. So what influences you and keep it the same strength that you always have when you deliver?
Regarding, sorry, what do you mean by that question?
The music, like that stamina that you always have with your production. Like, you always come with it. It is never a dull moment. It's always coming at you full force. Where do you get that strength from?
I think I'm as prolific as I am, because I love finding samples. Like that hunt for that next sound that's gonna get the hairs on the back of the neck, and then I lay the drums over it, and it just fucking it gives you that kind of stink face. That's the drug, that's the crack for me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I gotta get that. I gotta keep doing that. I gotta find it. So I would say that.
Now, when you say digging, not to cut you off, when you say digging, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't know the UK got a infinite record stores. I mean, it might not have like they used to be before, but they still exist in the UK, and people praise them. Here in the States, they're kind of like obsolete. If you find one, you got to drive like 50 miles to get to it.
Right.
So now, that being in your backyard, are those records still accessible to you, where you can go and buy vinyl and just like shop, just like check for different samples? Do the record stores let you put your headphones on and you're in a corner and you're digging through the crates? Is that the type of vibe they have?
Again, there's the odd one or two that would allow you to do that, but I'm going to be 100% with you. I've rarely sampled from vinyl, very rarely. The vast majority of my stuff is e-digging. Okay. To be honest with you, pretty much all of it, e-digging and sample packs. Okay. It just, I'm a father. I've got a job where I'm working.
Yeah, because it takes a long time.
5 days of the week. Yeah, I ain't got time over the weekend to drive 50 miles and go and find, spend all day digging. My wife would go fucking mental if I kept doing that every weekend.
Leave that music alone already, damn it.
Yeah. It's a what's the word? It's a fine balance. You got to try and keep.
You gotta have a balance. You gotta have balance. balance.
So the fortunate or the fortune of having this music from all genres, all walks of life, all decades, all different countries, all different cultures, just at your fingertips. You know, you'd be mad not to. I think you'd be mad not to take advantage of that, particularly if you, you know, if you don't have. If I was at uni, if I was still a student, then yeah, I'd be digging all the time. I'd spend all my time in record shops.
Definitely.
I used to do that when I was, but I was buying records to play in clubs rather than sample back in them days. But yeah, no, I haven't got the I just haven't got the time now to go and dig for records in a shop, unfortunately.
Yeah, but that's awesome now, because with the internet, we're kind of spoiled, but then we're not spoiled. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things, like, you know, I mean, it's amazing that, you know, music comes out so often like that, and so consistent, and also it being good, because back in the day, people would take 6-7 years to make an album.
Yeah.
Now people making albums every other month or every month. You know, Flea Lord did it last year, putting out an album every month. You know, so
yeah.
that is impressive. It really is, and it's so easy for us to put our music now.
Yeah, I mean, look, I can listen to an album from 1960s Romania, and then with two clicks of a button, be listening to some funk from 1975. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just it's way quicker, and because that, like you say, that speed of being able to access the samples more quickly. So I mean, the way I work, I'll spend Monday to Friday, when I get an hour or two in the evening, just digging samples and just recording them onto Audacity. And then what I'll do on the Friday night or the Saturday, that's when, okay, right now I'm in beat making mode, and I just chop the best bits from all the stuff I've grabbed over the week.
That's amazing.
And that's kind of that's my, you know, it's working for me at the minute. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what adds
whatever
to the
works. Whatever works, man. It's what the outcome. That's what matters, the outcome. You know what I mean? Definitely.
Indeed, yeah. The MCs don't give a fuck whether I sample from a real record or whether I get the shit off YouTube. Honestly, as long as it sounds,
as long as it sounds amazing, it's all good. Now, your artwork, the direction that you have when you put out these projects, do you have a lot of say with the artwork?
The Marta Music artwork that for me and Jamil Honesty, the idea was his, but I made it because I can use Photoshop and stuff. Because being a media studies teacher, you know, I kind of had to teach myself how to use that software to be able to teach my students. So I know how to. I can edit pretty well. The Angels and Demons stuff was pretty much Mav, to be honest with you, and he worked with the artists. And he kind of asked what I thought, and I kind of chucked some ideas his way at what I thought would kind of work. But that was, generally speaking, that was him. Spoder on that got the artwork sorted for our project. So it's, on the whole, generally speaking, Substance, he sorted the art.
He's very hands-on because he's a hell of an artist himself.
He is actually, yeah.
A lot of people don't know he's a hell of an artist.
Yeah, he does cover art for quite a few people. To be fair, he did. I'm sure he did one for Apollo Brown or Shane Noir or something like that. Yeah, I'm sure he did.
Yeah, he did actually. Yeah, you're right.
So yeah, but awesome. On the, you know, for someone, because my training, my degree is as a fine artist. That's what I did. That's where I studied. I studied fine art. But generally speaking, weirdly, usually it's the artist who comes up with the kind of concept, and not so much me, to be fair, which is weird, really, considering that's my background. But you know, that's what works. It seems to have worked so far. So
that's awesome. That's awesome, man. So what's to come in 2022 for Hobgoblin?
Well, I'm hoping to get the I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, whether the Awakening 2 or some kind of like play on the name that I gave for the first album. But there's another one coming this year. I mean, I've already sorted out the vinyl for it. I'm not. I put out my own project last time. I'm going to get someone else to do it though this time.
Yeah.
It's too much fucking hassle, man. I don't know how they do it. These guys,
Yeah.
you know, posting 30 records a time at the post office and get the emails you get back from people when they don't get their records, or the records that get slightly down. Oh fucking hell, mate, it's a nightmare. So I was like, fuck that. I'm just getting someone else to do it. So
Yeah, they're right.
yeah, man. So just concentrate on and it sucks your time as well. That's the other thing. And I get, if I'm not able to create, like, it literally like pisses me off. Like if there's things that get in my way that are stopping me being able to be creative, and the business side of putting out music fucking does that, soul sapping. So I was quite happy this time around just to kind of go, you know, outsource the physicals, getting the physicals done. For the vinyl anyway. CDs and tapes is all right. That's pretty, you know, that's not a big deal. But the vinyl stuff is a ball ache.
The vinyl's amazing. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, man. So a new producer project. I got some big artists lined up on that as well. Marta Music 3 this year, hopefully, with Jamil Honesty.
Nice.
I've got some big features on there as well. Mav and I are talking about doing something Angels and Demons related, not necessarily Angels and Demons 4, but something with Angels and Demons. I'm not going to say anything else because he hasn't said anything yet, so I don't want to let the cat out of the bag.
You don't want to start
further than that. But
Definitely.
that's something we're doing. What else have we got coming up? Me and Sean Links have got a project coming. We're working on.
Okay.
Fucking hell. I've got loads of stuff. Off the top of my head, I can't remember, but yeah,
that's
lots.
amazing.
Let's put it that way.
Well, we're gonna be watching and we're gonna be rooting for you. You know, I appreciate everything you're doing. I had to bring you up here and show you love and let you know that you know, we value you in hip hop. All right.
I appreciate it. That's mad. It's mad because it's, you know, little old me over here in the UK. I don't always get to necessarily, you know, it's being there and experiencing it in the US. I mean, depending on where you're based, obviously, and you see, you know, the shows are happening, and you've got, you know, Top Shelf Premium and all these kind of these you know, these crews doing their thing, Lord Mob, and it's, you know, people are doing shows, and you kind of, I've said this to Farmer BEATZ before, like I feel a bit with being here in the UK and being kind of so separated from it. It's almost like it's happening in another world, and you don't really appreciate just how big it is, if you see what I mean. Do you know what I mean? Like, almost not that I undervalue it, but I just don't. Yeah. I don't see it for myself. Do you know what I mean? So
I know
it's all coming.
We got to bring you down here when all this nonsense is done. Come down here. You know, definitely. That'll be nice, man.
That's my next. That's my next thing. It's what, you know. Again, any money I make goes straight back into the music, and I've got that money put away for the next, you know, the US trip. Is going to happen. 100% is going to happen.
That's amazing. Well, we'll be watching, man, and we'll be you know what I mean, enjoying everything that you do, man. Definitely.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
All right. So yeah, man, like I said, we wanted to bring you up here, big you up, and tell you thank you for being a part of hip hop, and thank you for being on the show, man. And this was Let's Chop It Up with Ziz, and today we had a special guest, man, Hobgoblin, all the way from the UK.
Thanks, man.
Peace.